Hello and welcome back to SJ Cartier Limited Convos. And today, after Friday's SJ Cartier Limited Convos quotes, I thought I'd actually give a little understanding of things I actually looked for as a kid and kind of try and help you remind yourself of where I was going with my quote, because I love my quotes on a Friday, but I never actually give them full delving into, especially when I'm saying these messages are for you, my subscribers, any followers, anyone that just happens to see my show. But also, these are ultimately things I say to myself consistently. So I'm going to actually play this short now, and then I'm going to give you a little breakdown on it. And I want you to kind of think in your life, did you think of these things? Did you ask for these things? Has your journey been misled? Not misled, because our journeys are our journeys, and we never want to look back on our journey and not be grateful for the journey we've actually had, because if we take away the losses and take them all as lessons, then in the ultimate being, the more things we go through, the more lessons we've actually learned if we try and learn them. So let me just play my short first and go into it. Quote. And today's little convo's quote is: when you was a child, remember everything you dreamed and wanted, and aim for that now. Don't forget it all. Don't let the world mislead us. Don't let anybody else mislead us. So I'll give you a little example from my point of view, because I always like to give examples to my life. For me, as a young kid, I always wanted to use my life to build a business that allows me to travel the world, travel the country. I wanted to move out of Birmingham to somewhere that is the countryside. And funnily enough, I did actually ask to be close to Bath Spa, which is where I'm basically close to now. And I asked to find myself a woman where she was religious. She had a bit of something other than 100% English in her. And she was beautiful and loving and caring. And everything in my life that I looked for as a kid, I believe I have now. I have a loving, kind, beautiful, who is got English, Italian and Jamaican in her. I am living in the countryside, close to Bath. I have actually travelled this country. I haven't travelled the world yet for my business, but I've travelled the country for my business. And I actually collect a lot of things that me, as a young child, due to the roads and everything, it took me away. So I always watched every X-Men, Avengers film, always loved Spider-Man, always have been a Batman lover. I've read comics from a very young age, funny comics like Beano's and Dennis the Menace, to Batman comics, to Superman comics. So toys, cars, I always collected die-cast cars. I've loved football all my life. So everything I do in my business now is things I loved as a child. And things I do now, and the life I live now, is the life I wanted as a child. So today's little convo's quote to you is: remember what you wanted as a child, and don't allow the world to sidetrack you from what you really want. Thank you for joining us today, Cartier Limited Convos, and I hope you have a good. So yeah, that was basically my little quote on Friday. If you've subscribed to me or you've been following me for a while, you'll know already. Every Friday I come with a positive message to everybody in the world, as well as myself and my family also. So this week's was all about remembering what we wanted as a child and kind of looking back, because I'll give you where it even came from, that actual, so you get an understanding of where I'm even going. I saw a post about Niche Vibe, the club in Sheffield, talking about how it was the club that brought a lot of bassline to the UK and gave a lot of people a community of bassline ravers that would always see each other and rave at each place. And Niche and Vibe gave this for the DJs, gave this for us all around the UK to travel. And it kept getting closed down, reopened, closed down, because the police just didn't like the fact that it was such a big community in there, that they weren't it was something new. When something new comes to communities, a lot of people are wary of it, just like businesses. You see a new business, unless you know the person personally, you're wary of this business. If you see a new driver, you're going to be wary of the new driver because they're new. So anybody new into anything, we're wary of it just because of that. So that's why the baseline things went down. Obviously, drugs happen in all types of clubs. So when they were trying to specify about drugs, it wasn't just about drugs, and violence wasn't actually happening. So it was just drugs were in every club and pub and place anyway. So it wasn't just about that, but I'm getting away from the actual thing. My point of it was, when I saw that post, it brought me back to my childhood growing up as a young boy, travelling the country, going to Niche, Vibe, Warehouse, Telford, going all around the country, Manchester, Liverpool, just to club, party, look for girls, make money either for that night or find somewhere to make money for the next month and chill. That's all we looked for. Like, that's all I looked for growing up. Like, women, money, clothes, and traveling. So that's all I actually looked for. And then I thought, where did that all come from? Because I'm pretty sure I had bigger aspirations from that. And this is where jail was very beneficial for me, I'd say, because it allowed me to take myself away because I had to. It allowed me to be on my own because I didn't rely on anyone while I was in jail to help me survive while I was in jail. So I never had people regularly sending me money. I never had people that would always send my clothes that they can get or got. I didn't have all that, what we call a support system, to say while you're in jail, even people that have got money for you owe you money. They're not even sending money or contacting you. So you realise you're very to yourself. When you start coming to yourself in jail, you start to realise the things you actually miss, for me personally. So I realised one thing I always kept thinking I missed was obviously a woman, companionship. You don't get that in jail, it's pure man. So that was one thing that obviously first and foremost we missed. Once I got past my lust of what I was missing and started thinking about the things I was really missing, I started to realise, wait a minute, I'm running around and all this money I've made, I still haven't put this money, as I said I would, into a business. I still haven't washed this money to a point to say I can build a business from it. So why have I made this money? I'm in jail now. I've lost money, like just left money on road and money's gone when I come out. Like, I'm moving on, I've come out of jail, I'm moving on. It's a new life for me. Don't care about past things. I'm caring about the future. So I'm thinking, wait a minute, I haven't even actually got a woman. So if I had a woman while I was in jail, would I even be in jail? Pardon me, under law. Wow, sorry about that. Would I even be in jail? So I started considering the things of, oh, so wait a minute, what do I really want from life? What did I actually want from life for a kid? And this is where it all started clicking. I wanted a woman to move away to somewhere, away from Birmingham, to live in the countryside, to have a business and live with my woman and a family and grow a family from wherever I am. And basically, wherever I am, use that as a reason, because it's not my home city, that I have to travel to wherever I have to for my business. Because I live in the countryside, I always presume living in the countryside, you wouldn't have much resources around you. You have to kind of come with your resources or come with money already with some resources elsewhere. So I started realising all the things I actually wanted that I wasn't getting. And again, I'll go back to the original point. My first instinct was lust, because that's all I was chasing previously. Money, women and girl. Money, women, clothes, and that's it. Money, women, clothes. Money, women, party clothes. Money, women, party clothes. Shopping. Not even clothes, it's just shopping. You know what I'm trying to say? So I looked back on a lot while I was in jail. I looked back at the things I did still used to do. So although I was on the road and I lived a criminal lifestyle, I never missed certain films. My house was a film heaven because I always had films. I had films from the Chinese people, and I had films I used to buy from the shops. I had music on all the time. I was telling my partner all the time. I used to actually sit down with men and women, and we're on some of the men were gang, were road, and sit down and play Monopoly. Sit down and play Scrabble. Sit down and play blackjack. I used to sit down and play these. There's times I haven't say I played it regularly, but I've even sat down and played poker with friends with for real money and certain things we used to do, and we done it within a concluded circle. We didn't do it as a thing of, oh, we love Monopoly. We used to go to like youth clubs back in the day, and we could play Monopoly with other people or Scrabble. I used to love going to the youth club growing up and socialising. And although man are ghetto, man are doing other things, there's people that in there that aren't ghetto, so it allowed us to socialise. And then things like Scrabble, for instance, I used to love playing everybody at Scrabble because I thought I was the GOAT at Scrabble. So when you get to these places, you start to interact and play other things that aren't just the typical generic things that are pushed in our face, whether via music, via TV, via the papers, via whatever we see, social media. At these times it was Facebook, Bebo, all these old things, MySpace, and it was all about weed, women, partying, all of that. So now I'm going to actually give you some of the things that I remember as a kid, that before all the criminal lifestyle came to me, before life take over and money and girls and things I was chasing took over me, what was I actually after? And I writ the things down. So I actually wanted to move out of Birmingham, preferably the countryside. And I live in a place called Trowbridge now, which is close to Bath. It's actually in Wiltshire. And even though we say things, sometimes we never actually remember things we dream ourselves. So even for me, as a young kid growing up, I always presumed Wiltshire was a posh area. It was just an area that Wiltshire was just posh. Even when I was going everywhere around the country, I didn't really venture to Wiltshire because I realised that wasn't the life over there for me. Like, I like to go countryside, but Wiltshire just seemed a bit poshy for me, like where I'd stand out. And I thought, oh, that's where the celebrities, that's where the stars, that's where people go when you have money. You just go and live in Wiltshire. I travelled to Bath a lot, and I just loved the atmosphere of Bath. I loved the atmosphere of the people. I loved shopping there. I loved the beauty of it. The only thing I hated about Bath was the signal. But when you actually travel in and around Bath, you start to realise some places have no signal at all in Bath, and some places actually have good signal. So it just depends where you are in Bath. So I always actually looked to live in Bath or the countryside or Wiltshire. And I actually live close to Bath, and I live in Wiltshire now. And when I actually asked my partner what would she like, even when we first moved, when I moved to her in London, we come to the decision of where do we want to, we're going to move now, where do we want to move to? We don't want to be in London, we're not moving to Birmingham, where do we want to move to? We came up with a few areas like Richmond and Wiltshire and Kent, and those were the types of places we were aiming for in the first instinct, because those were the kind of rural instincts that we were drawn to at that time. It just happened that we ended up getting a place in Wiltshire. We came here, it was COVID, looked quite neat, quiet little place. It got a little town, got countryside, park, loads of park and greenery around us. What more can we ask for? The train station is down the road from where it is. I'm happy. I can't complain. Countryside living. I got away from Birmingham, and even for my partner, she got away from London. For ages we were looking to get away. Now my question to everybody watching is, have you tried to get away from where you live now? What is holding you back? Is it life? Is it a possibility of, oh, I have a career here? Careers can be started anywhere. You have a career here. If you're good at your job and you have qualifications or experience, then moving to another area will not stop you from finding another job in that similar area or possibly getting other jobs that may be better than the job you have. We never know. Is it family stopping you? Well, then do you actually see yourself living with your mother, your father, even with your children for the rest of your life? Yes, you have to live with alongside them, but when it comes to your life, when I looked at it for myself, I thought in the end, even when we have kids, the kids will always leave us. When you have a mother and father, you expect your mother and father to leave before you. That's how the way of the world should be. And you should leave before your kids, but your kids have to move and grow their own life. And in the end of it, all you actually end up with is you and your partner. Obviously, as you get to a certain age, the kids come to help, your family, your cousins, your aunties, your uncle, not your aunties, your cousins, your nieces, your nephews, they come and help. But your main support of living life is your partner. So when I come to what one of my next dreams were, so the point of that message was, you can move to where you need to move to, regardless of where your family are, regardless of a job, regardless of what things you put in the back of your mind to make you think it's not possible. And even for shows like Married at First Sight, we watch that, and it's very entertaining to see how two people can be put together and they don't know each other and see if they can make it. Some people do, some people don't. Some people don't make it in their own couple, but find a relationship within the process. And it's quite funny to see that some of the people, the two strongest couples last year, their biggest problem was their distance, and one had a child and one lived far north and had a career there. And we were sitting here thinking, for two people that actually realised they want to spend their life with someone forever now, why are you putting work and family before that? Because for the man, if his kid was not permanently staying with him, and if his kid is permanently staying with him, regardless of what it is, you could move within a driving distance, within a train journey from your child or from the child's mother if you have full custody. And if you have full custody, it shouldn't be your priority to feel you have to be definitely close to the mother. You just have to take the responsibility to understand, if I have taken the child away from the mother, I would have to bring the child to the mother or make this decision with the mother that sometimes she's able or capable to come to me, and then sometimes we will come to her. And that would be if you don't have full custody. That's his decision. Obviously, with her decision, she could set up her business or continue her job anywhere she wants to go. If she was her own business, she could just stop renting from one place and start renting in another place. Use the reviews and certain things to find an area. You build your business again. You built your business from scratch previously. You can build it again. And the point of what I'm trying to get to, they both were looking as, I need to move to you or you need to move to me, when in fact they both could have looked at moving closer to each other and realising family and decisions of work is holding them back from actually growing a love and a life together. Because we all, as young boys or young kids, we all want girlfriends, we all want girlfriends and boyfriends, and we all want husbands and wife in the long run. What is stopping us? Is life stopping us from getting those things? Could be a job, it could be family. Why are these things stopping us? The next thing was to obviously travel the world and the country. Now, I've only left the country 3 times, and this was another thing I realised from being in custody. I was in custody for my long sentence, and this was like 8 years ago now, 7 years ago, however long, 9 years. It's been a while. Coming around 9 years now since I was last in jail. So one thing I realised with that was I hadn't left the country as much as I should have. I travelled the whole country, but I hadn't left the country as much. So when I got out, even to the fact I didn't even have a passport, for some unknown reason, life took me to a point where I didn't even have a passport to say, oh, you know, I've got money, I'm just going. A couple of people used to tell me, get your bloody passport so we can go. Man, I'm flying here, I'm getting locked up, and certain things there's always an excuse. This is what I'm trying to get at.
Stop putting excuses into what we really remember, what we want to do, because life is taking us away. So I wanted to always travel the world. What was stopping me from traveling the world? It was because I was listening to what my heart and lust was looking for, was money, girls, clubbing, partying. So even when I think about it, I come back out of jail, and within the first year, I just about finished my license basically, and I left the country straight away. I got my passport and I left, and I realised this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I left again, and a month later, obviously COVID came, and a couple months later, COVID came, and then all this travel and all these things came, and then suddenly, this is where now, because this is what I say, in life, you have to live a little before you're ready to settle down. And if you don't live a little, you're going to be lusting for so many things in life afterwards that you're just going to be chasing these things even when you've got everything that you asked for. So this is why I say, remember the things that you wanted as a child, because the things I wanted was to be in a family home, living in the countryside, running my own business, being the manager of my life in whatever way I need to be, and having the ability to travel where I need to, when I want to. That's what I wanted from my life. And I've ended up with that. I didn't really want loads of money. Money wasn't the priority. When I was chasing money, I chased money, and that's what money led me to, jail and other things. So I don't chase money now. Money comes and goes. Money don't make you really happy. Money brings you the opportunities to do the things you need to do, but it doesn't actually make you happy unless you do the things you want to do with it. Again, allowing life to mislead you from your happiness. And I always say, go back to young childhood, because going back to the childhood is where your heart is clean. It's a point where your heart is not washed by all the things we listen to and we watch and hear and sociably around. So remember the things we want. We all wanted a family, we all wanted a life, we all want to travel, we all want to live somewhere where you don't feel like you have to look over your shoulder. If you're on the road, your whole aim is to be on the road, to be able to get a business so you don't have to be on the road. It's the whole aim. These are goals we all have, but we get sidetracked. And why are we getting sidetracked? Why do we not actually go for a bit of what we call in Islam a bit of jihad? Go for a bit of struggle, go for a bit of strive for what you actually need and want. Ramadan's under 100 days now away. Same way as Ramadan, we have to strive for what we want by waiting for what we want. We have to go for that jihad of being hungry and wanting to smoke something, wanting to look or kiss your woman or touch my woman. Like, I can't do none of these things in Ramadan. But then when I come out of Ramadan, the reward feels so much better when I eat a little less than I was going to eat anyway. When I wasn't fasting, and I ate more when I wasn't fasting, I didn't feel happy with it. But when I ate that little bit after fasting, I felt so nourished and it tasted so beautiful. That's what jihad, that's what patience, that's what not chasing these things does for us. And when we chase things, we lose our journey and what really makes our heart smile and us smile. So I feel like I'm going a bit long, but I'm going to give the quick things of what I want now, and I'm not going to try and go delve into much, but I'm going to read them out because I've got bullet points here. I want to get through them. So to move out of Birmingham, preferably the countryside, to own my own business, you see SJ Cartier Limited now. Travel the world socially or for business. I've travelled the world a lot more since I've left jail, and I haven't travelled for business, but I've travelled the country for business, and I've travelled the country now as a couple, as a lover, as a family man. Find a wife that isn't 100% English. I'm going to explain that now. I wanted to find a wife that didn't just live by 100% English British values, because me as an Englishman, I realised my arrogance, my attitude, certain of that comes from being English, certain of that comes from the Caribbean side of me. And if you don't if you ain't English, you ain't gonna get the Caribbean cheek. If you ain't Caribbean, you ain't gonna get the English cheek, or whatever. If that makes sense, you get it. So I couldn't find someone that was completely English because I wanted someone to have a bit of culture, because I have a bit of culture in myself, and feeling with someone that is completely English and doesn't have culture, I feel like I was always prepared for the fact that sometimes, even in other cultures, regardless of I'm black, you're white, and I'm English, you're English, that same equality isn't the same for the black man looking at the white man, or the white man looking at the black man. And you only get that sometimes when you can understand each other. And that's why I personally wanted someone with a bit of culture. She could have been white as hell, but if she had a auntie or a nan or someone that was French, Italian, that would have brought a bit of culture to how I felt she felt, because it wasn't just living from the English British values and that's all she knew. Because for me, I live from my British values, but some of the British values are not for me. I live by my Jamaican values, but some of those are not for me. I live by my Islamic natures, but then some Islamic cultures, not the Islamic faith, some Islamic cultures are not for me. So recognizing some things aren't for me, you have to have someone that is like me. I'm very different. I'm very much English in my heart. I'm very much Jamaican in my heart. I'm very much Muslim in my heart. I'm very much continental African, remember my heritage at my heart. So for me, I needed someone that felt like that or has that in them, because I can bring that out of them and they can bring that out of me. So I always needed that. I always said I wanted a woman religious. And when I say religious, I don't mean she just says she's Christian. I don't mean she just says she's Jew. And I didn't mean I wanted someone just specifically Muslim. I just wanted a woman that had some faith and believed in God and had some belief in God, our God, and believed it. Didn't just say it for fashion, didn't just do it for fashion, actually believed it. Because the reason I believe that, if she believed in her God, she would then love me, not for me, not for her, but for God. So everything I do for my woman, I love her from my heart deeply. But a lot of my love as well comes because I have to as a Muslim man. I have to as a man. I have to. So my love is even stronger with that faith. And that's why I needed a woman with that faith, because she'd love me just for her faith. Money wouldn't care to her. Lifestyles wouldn't care to her. Obviously, we don't want to be living a poo-poo lifestyle, and we don't want to have no money. But to know that you could go through that and still love each other together and still make each other happy and smile, because we believe, regardless of what situation we're in, we're here because of one person, and that's God, Allah, and they will change our life for the better, or we will have to just deal with it because we're strong enough to deal with it, because they have only gave us this because we are strong enough to deal with it. So when you have a woman with faith, I believe those morals of trust, those morals of respect, those morals of highly loving you and caring for you come naturally to that woman a lot easier, because she has a faith to fall back on. That's what I wanted. My interests were football. So I played football a lot in school. I was always in the school teams. I played Sunday football. I played semi-pro football. I played football with friends every weekend. We used to play football, keep against other people, just randomly turning up and using whoever we came with and mixing teams or whatever. I used to do it all. I used to watch football all the time. I still watch football all the time. So obviously trading cards, that's where the football comes into that. Movies and music. I love watching films. I've watched films all my life. As I say, I've always got films in my house. I've always had films in my house from a very young age, whether it was VHSs, whether it was cassettes, DVDs, Blu-rays. I've always had them, whether they were legitimate ones, whether they were chipped Chinese ones. I had them. New films, old films, I had them. Caribbean films, sets, gangster Jamaican films, gangster American things, series. I had them. I still do watch all these things. So movies, if you wonder why I have DVDs, Blu-rays, VHSs, because I understand films. A lot of people need films to entertain themselves. And for me, I always love watching a good film. I love watching a TV series. Right now, we're going through Stranger Things. We're going to finish it. I need to finish this quick because we're on episode 3 now. And I need to finish it because we're already behind. A lot of people are already on finished season 4. You know what I mean? So it'd be nice for us to finish that. Well, we are finishing it today. So films all the time. This is why I sell films. I'm trying to show you as well why I have my business here now, because football, I love football. I've watched football. I've played football. I collected cards when I was young. I used to collect stickers even as well, funny enough when I think of it. So unfortunately, I never completed a sticker set because my family wasn't rich to always buy me stickers. So yeah, but I did used to collect them as much as I could. I used to collect like Liverpool annuals and all sorts. I had my little football shirts and stuff. So football's always been in me. So football cards, that's why I collect football cards now. Movies, I've loved watching films. I always buy collected films. So I sell films now because media needs to stay as media. Music, I listen to music every day. I listen to music whenever I'm out and I'm traveling. You will always see me listening to music. So I have to sell music. As a classical man, I recognize all music comes from all these classical music, and we get all the beats and the rhythms and the understandings from those things. And every music we listen to now is all down to people like Mozart, Beethoven, and these original composers that made music and made tunes. Obviously, we always had African beats and African tunes, but it was never made into media for others to listen to. It was always within your community that people heard this. So if you never traveled to a community, you wouldn't hear the music of other communities. Whereas those type of musics allowed that to actually forfeiture now, come to forfeiture. So now we have all types of music in the chart. We now hear rap music, reggae music all in the charts. It's not just pop music, classical, jazz. We hear it all. So I have to preserve a lot of the classical and all other types of music because I recognize all music follows the same 4/8 beats. Doesn't matter how fast or how slow it goes, it follows the same 4 and 8 beats. So when you understand that, all music is the same, regardless. It's just everyone has their own flavors. Comics, as I say, films, I always used to love my superhero films and comics. I read Beano's, I read Dennis the Menace, I read Batman back in the day. I don't even know what Batman I used to read. I have a feeling it was Detective Comics, but I'm not 100% sure. I have a feeling it was. I used to like Spider-Man. As I say, I only like the first 2 Spider-Man films. I'm not a fan of the recent Spider-Man films after that, but the first 2 Spider-Man films I was a big fan of. I've always loved superheroes. I feel like I'm a Black Panther at heart, so of course we have to love Black Panther. Whatever you want to say. You know what I mean? So keeping it real around here. So yeah, Black Panther's there. Obviously, comics. I just love comics. I love art. Really, I got back into my comics, not to read comics, if I'm being openly and honest. It was all for the artwork and the artistry. Because again, as I say, forgetting the things we lost are things like art. I used to love drawing. I used to think I was one of the best artists, and I may have said I was one of the best artists in my school classroom. So when you understand how confident I must be to feel that I was the best artist in my classroom, no, there were some good artists, and I must have been good to even consider myself as on that level. So I love art. I appreciate art, of all art. I'm not a fan of AI art, so no to AI art. No to AI art. Let's keep it pencil, pen, smudges, whatever type of art we want to do. Let's keep it to natural, physical art. So these are the reasons I collect comics. I now read comics, funnily enough. So the comics I actually read now, it's kind of like, it's a variety of comics. But unfortunately, I haven't got as many complete runs as I'd like to have, I'd say. So that is what my process is now, because at first I was buying for artwork. Then I started reading a few of my comics. Now I need to get the complete stories of these comics and now not just appreciate that front cover, because that's what catches me first of all. And that's all I was aiming for, to be honest. I just wanted, and if I'm allowed, when we get the new house, so I'm allowed to have a room designed for myself. But my aim is to get a lot of CGC of my favourite artworks from some of my favourite artists on the wall and just have them displayed. And you will see what type of art I appreciate from my comics. And then that's why I buy comics. Antiques, if you've watched my previous videos, you'll recognise I have loved Roald Dalton from the youngest age, when I used to watch Antiques Roadshow as a 12, 13, 14-year-old, and I'm sitting here thinking I would love to just have one of those. I would love to start selling those. I would love to just find those things. I would love to just go in someone's house and someone says, oh, I've got this for sale, and it's a bloody £1 million thing, and I'm saying, oh, I'll take that for a couple of grand, you know? And he say, no, just give me 500. I love for that excitement and thrill of looking and hunting and finding these things. I love the thrill of going to auction and getting these things for either cheaper than I want to, or just paying a little bit more over the odds because I want to. I look forward to auction, so I always watch these shows and I always love Antiques of Roald Dalton. So now I just want to preserve antiques and collectibles, and I did start off just looking for Roald Dalton, and I've changed now because I realise, yes, Roald Dalton sells, and Franklin Mint sells, and Danbury Mint sells, and all these brands sell, but I really want these things that aren't branded, if that makes sense, because those are the beauties, those are the things with history and story, and they're also things that bring a lot of the things we don't even realise around us now. Like, we don't realise that this phone I'm watching comes from a chip, and where did that chip start from? Who made that? Like, all these little things, like, where did that first phone come from? Like, who's got that first mobile phone? How much is that worth? I want one. Who's got the first Apple iPhone? I want one. All these things, like originals of things. The first car, I've got a patent from the first Ford model car, Ford T model car. I've got the patent for that on my website, and I love that because it's the first patent for a Mercedes car. I think it was the first, Ford car, model car. So it's like, it's just like memories and history, and we seem to forget these things again, just like we forget our own history and what we love and like. We forget the history of the world and how it's materialised to what it is now amongst us, and the things we see and hear and breathe. It's all come from a combined collection of things over generations and generations that a lot of us forget about. So just like now, we don't realise we're walking around this country now, and it's down to the soldiers why we're able to walk around and be safe and comfortable. Otherwise we'd be fully controlled by other country. We may all be not even have as many houses as we have now in buildings. We may be a wasteland. We don't even know. We don't even know. And we all walk around and like we say, yeah, oh, we give thanks to soldiers and all these things. But do we really appreciate what these soldiers have done for us when we look around? We forget these things. And it's the same way we forget these things in our life. We forget what we want to make us smile and what made us smile and what actually made us upset. We forget these things. So yeah, antiques, it brings memories to a lot of us in more ways than one. If it's a toy, if it's a comic, if it's binoculars, if it's a German Stein, whatever it is, like, it all brings a memory to people, to where these originally things come from. So when people are drinking beers now, they realised the beers people used to drink from were a lot bigger. They were made from clay. There was not glass. We start to understand history. We learn a lot more as well. Life's about learning as much as we can. So when I get antiques and vintage, it then brings a story to me. It makes me understand about a brand. It makes me understand when this brand was around. It makes me understand what materials they were using back then and why they used them. It brings a lot of the style as well and beauty of what the beauty was back then to the styles we have now. So I showed you an Oraton bag in my shorts the other day, and it's very short handle, it's like a handbag, but when you look at the style and the tassels on it and how you don't see many bags like that now, even though you see many handheld bags with beads, and it's just the beauty of it. It's just the beauty of that came, and now we see leather bags that look like that. If you understand it. So this is why I collect antiques. I used to love Pokemon cards, so I think me not knowing any Pokemon now has stopped me from getting into Pokemon. I only care about Pikachu and Charizard and Chameleon and Abra and all those Jigglypuff. Even Jigglypuff was sick. Yeah, if you know, people used to laugh at Jigglypuff, but Jigglypuff was quite sick. You know what I mean? Put you to sleep and Snorlax and all those things. You know what I mean? So there's a load of Ratatouille and not Ratatouille, Ratata. They're all coming in my head now, like remembering them. But these are the ones I remember. I don't care about all these new Pokemon. So to get into Pokemon cards, I could never get into Pokemon cards. I know nothing about Pokemon, and I'm not willing to learn about Pokemon either. I don't care about Pokemon now. I get into football cards because, I collected cards. I liked Pokemon cards. I actually collected Digimon cards as well back in the day. So cards was something we used to collect and trade and sell and buy. And so, trading cards now come into that with the football. I did want to do football shirts originally, but football shirts with, authenticity. I wasn't really clued up with the authenticity of football shirts. So I tried to stay away from them unless I knew they were authenticated by someone already previously, and I could trust that authentication from that person. Auctions, I've already delved into it. I love to go to the countryside. Okay then. Countryside, as I said, things I used to love were countryside, clubbing, girls and travelling. That was it. When I say countryside, I used to love to go to like clubs in the countryside. So Sheffield to me was the countryside because I'm from Birmingham. Going to Telford, that was definitely the countryside. Going to Worcester's and Liverpool wasn't the countryside because Manny wasn't really the countryside. Leeds, I'd say Leeds is bigger than Sheffield for me, definitely. Like, especially like the scenery. Like Sheffield it's got a lot, but it's all over the place, so it's not a lot really, because it's all over the place. Where Leeds, you've got specific areas still where you can club at. You know what I'm trying to say? So, what did life stop me from doing? It took a lot of time from me. It stopped me from growing, and it stopped me from actually growing my own family. And now when I look at the things that I never really wanted, and I may save this for another video because this one's mainly about what I wanted from life, and I wanted to move out of Birmingham. I wanted to own my own business. I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to find a wife that was 100% English. I wanted to find a wife with some religion. I wanted to have a business that vocalised around one of my interests previously, and that would involve helping me to travel also. So as long as it allows me to travel, whether it's for antiques, whether it was for football, whether it was for films, or I didn't presume superheroes, but I love superheroes and comics. I didn't ever think I'd sell comics in my life, but I've ended up now loving comics and selling comics. So comics come back to me now. So these were the things I wanted, and being on the road stopped me from owning a business. It stopped me from moving out of Birmingham, even though I was out of Birmingham every bloody week. Every week I was out of Brum. So I had keys. How many keys I've had for houses out of Birmingham is crazy. And I've never actually physically, tell a lie, I moved one place out of Birmingham, and that's because I had a woman. So I actually moved because I had a woman, and I moved to Derby then. I was back and forth in Brum, but I think a lot of people just realised I'd gone still. And it was a half-hearted move because, as I say, I was back and forth to Birmingham. So, yeah, I was back and forth. I had my house still there, so I had to be back and forth to like make sure my house is there, to be extremely honest. But yeah, I'd moved out of Brum and I was living in Derby. And then this is the first time I've really moved out of Brum and just completely not gone back and just moved out. Not to say I won't go back, not to say I haven't gone back, but it's just to say I've lived so far, it's not easy for me just to snap my fingers and be back in Brum. So I've moved out of Brum and I'm not even there now. So the things that I never wanted, and I'll elaborate on these in another one, and I feel like these are things that complement the things I wanted from life. So I never wanted to be unfit in an old age, never. So I've always trained. This is why I love playing football. This is why I've always been going gym throughout my whole life, whether I was in jail or out of jail. Took myself to gym. I've done loads of like martial arts things and played badminton and go play basketball and bowling and even ice skating, and we used to go rollerblading back in the day as well, back in the day. So I've always tried to do active things to stay active. Another reason why I travel a lot and why I enjoy not driving, because it meant I walked a lot of places and it meant I got to use public transport and I had to walk and physically see people, meet people. And it also gave me fitness because I'm always walking. So, because you're always walking, you have to stay fit if you're always walking. Otherwise, you're going to sit down and break. And when I go, I can stay on my feet all day if I have to. So, staying fit is one thing. Being unfit is one thing I never wanted. I never wanted to be a gangster. I never wanted to be no thug. So I never tried to be a gangster or thug. If I had to do gangster or thug stuff, because I had to do gangster or thug stuff, but I never wanted to be a gangster or a thug in my life. I just done gangster and thug stuff because that's where my life led me. I never wanted to be fake, whether that was to my friends, whether that's to my family, whether that's to people that randomly just meet me. I never wanted to give them a persona of me that then they would find out is fake. I never wanted them to misunderstand why I do some of the crazy things that may be crazy to them, but it makes sense to me. So I would never deny the things I've done in my life. So I'll give you an example. As a black man, some people don't like the word cunnilingus, but some black men like to do cunnilingus. I never used to do cunnilingus, but when I finally decided I wanted to, I decided I wanted to, and no one could tell me why laugh at me for that. Come on, Willow. So when you understand that, we realise, no, you're not going up there. Some people will be fake doing that. I would never do that and say I wasn't doing that. If I'm doing that, I'm doing that. If I'm doing something, I'm doing it. And I don't care who thinks it's funny and who says they don't want to do it. I'm going to do it anyway. Some people may say, why are you selling football cards at £1 and 50p's? Because I want to. Is there anything wrong with that? That's what I want to do. It's my website. You're going to tell me what to list on my website. I'm not telling you what to list on your platform that you're borrowing to sell your things. So don't tell me what to list on my own platform. So when you understand, I never want to be fake. I never want to tell you something that it isn't. And if I believe something, I believe something. I'm just going to stand on it for myself. And I never want to be fake with it. And also being in life and realising a lot of people talk behind people's backs. A lot of people will prey on each other and they will act and laugh like they're each other's friends. A lot of people will say they don't do these things, but they do these things. A lot of people say they do these things and they don't do these things. It's very quite funny. So for me, I always try to utmost just be me. So when I never had anything good to say, I kept myself quiet. When I had something to say, I just say what I got to say. That's something people probably don't like about me. I'm very quiet and I don't say a lot. But when I say a lot, I mean a lot. So I'm saying a lot and I'm saying it. Some people don't like that. Some people do. It's just me not trying to be fake. I'm not trying to. If I don't like you, I don't like you. If I've sensed you don't like me, I'll sense you don't like me. If I don't like you, simple. If there's something you do that I don't like, I'm going to tell you. If there's something I do that you don't like, I'm going to tell you. I like it and I'm going to do it regardless. So I'm not going to be fake. I'm not going to lie to my friends, my family, or associates. I don't want to say something to myself and not do it. I never wanted to be that person. So growing up as a young kid, I learned in my head, I realised sometimes you may get angry with someone and then you say you're going to do something, you don't do it. And I see people do that, and I said to myself, I never want to be that person. So if I say I'm going to do something to a person, I had a switch in my head from young where I was to say, if I'm going to do something, I've just got a word. I say, okay, I'm going to do it. And that's it. And as I grew up, I realised that's because I have kind of a, what's the word? I'm very impulsive. And I realised my impulsion was because I told myself something and I don't want to lie to myself. So I have to do whatever I said I have to do because it's me. So just like I say to my woman, I can't go in. She said, you know what? A couple of friends said going abroad or something. I said, I ain't going abroad till I take you abroad. I ain't going abroad if I can't get us abroad as a family, then I can't go abroad on my own with friends. I've done that. I've been there, done that. I'm not going abroad with friends just for the sake of it. Now, I would, but I have to take you first. Keeping it real. You know what I'm trying to say? So when you understand that, you tell yourself something, you have to believe it and make it happen. You have to believe it. And if you can't see it happening, you have to change journeys. You have to make these things happen to make it happen. Don't tell yourself something if you're not willing to do it. And a lot of people are like that. It's same as being fake, but it's also worse for your own personality to tell yourself you're going to do something and then not do it because you're going to look down on yourself later on, or because it's actually something you've told yourself to do, it's something you really need to do and you haven't done it. So I always said I don't want to be someone that says something to myself, forget everybody else because that's just being fake, but to myself and then not do it. Also said I never want to be in jail for life, ever. No matter what happens, I said, yeah, I'd go to jail for protecting my family for life. I'd go to jail for protecting myself for life. Yes, I would. But also, there's that cleverness in my head to think in my head, if I have to do this to protect my family, then I ain't going to jail for it anyway. That's how I like to feel, if you get that. So it's not the fact of we just act out of emotions at any point, at any time, because we're realising acting out of emotions, when you come from the road and you understand how things can go like that, acting out of emotions could end someone in jail for life and someone on the floor for life. And when we understand these things, we realise none of us want to actually go to jail for life still. None of us. Even if we're protecting our family and ourselves, we still don't. So we plan our life to not make that happen. When you understand these things, you understand them. So those are just some of the things I didn't want to be when I was growing up. And the same way you think about the things you want and you love, it's the same way you got to think about the things you didn't want to be. So I'm going to end this video now with the last little quote for you now. Remember the things you wanted to be, and remember the things you didn't want to be. And if some of those things you want to be you're achieving, go and look for the other things you need to. And if you're not, find them, do them, make a change in your life, and don't allow circumstances of work, family, money, anything change you other than what your heart really wants now, because you remember what you wanted growing up. And if you remember the things you didn't want, look at your life now and think, are you that type of person? Are you being fake? Can you be a cheater? Can you be in jail now for life? Could you still be on the road selling drugs and you thought you'd have a legal business somewhere else? What have we changed? Or has life taken it away from us? So yeah, thank you for joining SJ Cartier Limited Convos. I know it's a long one today, but I hope you enjoyed and got the message throughout the end of it. And I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Good day.